note card ideas. Does anybody here actually send out note cards or anything like that? Dania, unclick that mute button. You're gonna be the lead on this presentation. Tell us about note cards and what maybe people aren't thinking.
So I think that thank you cards are very effective, and I think that we've kind of come away from that. So typically in Thanksgiving, I would say that that's like the time of year that most people send out the thank you cards, but I like to send them at the beginning of the year, and I send them to all of my past clients. And I mean, I don't know if it's just from that and also from the newsletter and also seeing me active in the real estate industry, but I have probably picked up like 2 to 3 deals a year just from sending out those thank you cards. They'll call me and say, hey, you know, I wasn't interested. Like I was kind of considering maybe possibly selling, moving up, or, you know, my sister was actually looking into selling a house. And it's just a really nice way for them to receive something in the mail since we've kind of gotten away from that. So thank you cards are great.
Hey, so not only are thank you cards great, but there's a lot of ways we can utilize note cards. You have a lot of listings. Do you ever receive personal letters from some of the buyers? And if so, tell us how you feel about its effectiveness.
So Monday, I had a closing, and it was so special to me that I put it on my refrigerator. But the lady wrote out a testimonial, and then she put it like all on her Facebook, and I'm trying to get her to put it on Google too, but she's not that, you know, I guess tech savvy. But then I posted this on my Facebook, on my Instagram. It's so great to receive. I've never had anybody write me a thank you letter like that. And it really touched me. So I'm sure that people feel the same way, you know, it's great.
Very nice. So besides Thanksgiving, have you heard of any other ways where people are using note cards to transform their business?
I went to a convention earlier this year, and I signed up with, I can't remember the name of the company. I'll look for it and in a second, and I'll post it in the chat. But I actually pre-purchased, I believe it was 2 years of contacts, and they would send out 6 mail outs a year for you. And 4 of them were like just random things like recipe cards. Christian, sorry, 3-year-old problems. So they like, it was examples of like recipe cards, you know, spring cleaning tips, just kind of like things that certain people like. Like I have a client of mine that tells me like, oh, I look forward to your newsletters. Even though like, you know, other people may think that they're just drip and they're not effective. Like people actually like reading things, they like receiving things. And even if, you know, sometimes it's not as effective to say, here's my house for sale, or here's all the transactions I did this year. Just more of like a, hey, look, you know, here's a recipe, you know, and they can put it in their drawer. And then every time they open their door, they see your face. And so I pre-purchased, I believe they were $25 for 2 years of six touches. So 12 touches, it's automated. And then obviously you pick and choose the clients that would like to receive that sort of communication. You know, there's certain clients that you just know that they're more touch feel, or they're just maybe an older generation, or more old fashioned, and that they would appreciate those sort of things. So I think it's effective, especially that we've kind of gone away from that. I know a lot of agents that still do a lot of mass mail outs, and that's been their game plan, you know, for as long as can be, and they're very successful doing that. But I just think that like receiving something in the mail on paper that someone can keep is just a forgotten art. So
very nice. Does anybody has anybody had different successes with note cards or any other sort of out of the box communications, or old school communications for that matter?
Yeah, I'll chime in here. I have successfully sent out congratulatory cards to people that are total strangers. Like maybe you read in the newspaper that their kid graduated, or they just were appointed vice president at the bank. Especially if they're new to the area, they don't know a realtor yet, or they don't know a car salesperson yet, or a hairdresser. So it really could go across any platform, whatever your profession is. And I've gotten customers that way.
Very cool. Very cool. Anybody else? Anybody deal with any sort of old school techniques or um, have different ways of outreach or anything like that, maybe that typically aren't used anymore? It's really interesting. You know, everybody used to dread getting mail, but people find mail a little more fascinating now. And part of the reason why is because it's now a novelty. Are people sending out mailers or anything like that along with their farming campaigns to where they've seen effective results? Anybody want to share like one of their strategies as far as that is concerned?
I actually would like to ask a question.
Please.
I have 10 years experience in real estate. I'm originally from Miami Beach. I'm a graduate of the U of M, and I've been doing real estate in Vero Beach, Florida, the Hamptons of Florida, it's known as. Recently, I relocated to Miami, and I've been doing a lot of prospecting with phone because it typically works for me. I like, however, though, to have a full cycle, if you will, direct mail marketing with phone calling, emails, text, whatever you can. But returning to Miami, my challenge has been, how can I find a good database where I can hit them multiple ways? Meaning I can send them postcards or letters, plus I can call them on the phone and maybe get access to their emails without, of course, them opting in. Anybody know of any systems I could try to use?
Dania, can you handle that one?
Sorry, I took a phone call. So you said that actually I didn't hear it at all. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat?
Well, I feel that, and actually research tells us that a mail out will increase by 50% with follow-up. Follow-up can be different things, especially in our digital world, but technically and traditionally follow-up was phone call and or email. So my question to you was, or to the group, please, is how can we have a all-encompassing campaign? I'm looking to target neighborhoods where I can get access to their phone. Their address, of course, is in, you know, the tax records, and possibly email, so that we can escalate the time frame of 6 to 12 months before we've touched them enough times. Everybody knows you got to touch them 7 times. If you can hit them the 3 different ways that I just mentioned, plus add social media, maybe you could even hit them 5 ways, you might be able to convert the lead quicker than waiting 6 to 12 months to send them a mailer every, you know what I mean, every month.
Okay, I got you. Well, Desi mentioned earlier Remind. I haven't personally used that. I know that George Guerrera on our board has also mentioned this as well, because it's good to capture those sort of that information you're looking for, phone numbers and emails if it's public information. But I'm a huge advocate of HomeSnap. I'll talk about it again.
Okay.
HomeSnap is actually, it's phenomenal what they've done with it. There's actually heat maps, right? And so you can target specific areas, specific neighborhoods, and you can put in, or you can target like, okay, people that are, it has like some sort of an algorithm that tells you who's most likely to list, who has a certain amount of equity, who's in distress, and there's other filters as well. On the top of my head, I don't remember them. But if you click on specific properties, if their information is public, you can capture emails and you can capture phone numbers, and it will also tell you if they're on a do not call registry. So with that said, then you just kind of incorporate that into your CRM. And then if that's like the method that you're going to use for your marketing, then what you can do is kind of tell yourself like, okay, you have a calendar, and you know that, you know, this is your, create your specific filtered list of the people in that whatever neighborhood you're targeting. And then you create like a group, and then you create a task plan, like an action plan, like everything in life, right? So you'll say, you know, I want to touch them 6 times. Here's their email, here's their phone number, here's their address. And then you could take their emails a step further, and you could search their emails. You could search if they have social media profiles, follow them on social media. And then you can even take it a step further. If you're doing the neighborhood that you live in, you could get on Nextdoor app So you could have the Nextdoor app, then you know, and then so you post things on the Nextdoor app so they see you. You could do digital boosted ads on Facebook or Instagram in the neighborhood that you're looking into. Then you can call them, then you can email them, then you could door knock, then you could, you know, whatever.
Wow.
The options are endless. But yeah, HomeSnap, that new feature that they have is phenomenal. You should definitely check it out. And I believe it's free, right, Kevin?
HomeSnap?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know. I have a paid membership, but I do believe that the heat maps are free.
So there's like a freemium version, and then you have the premium version, right?
Well, I'm not sure because I pay more for my business page so that I can get Google reviews and I could boost my listings there. But I believe the information side of HomeSnap is free, and it's also an excellent app. I mean, granted, we have so many incredible apps. I love RPR. I use IMAP all the time. I use the mobile MLS all the time. But HomeSnap is really easy in front of any property. I've been using it before it even became popular, before I even started marketing on it. Probably I discovered it like 5 or 6 years ago. And it's great because you can be in front of any property and you could snap a photo and it will tell you everything. It will tell you, you know, when it was listed, the history, you know, all the status changes that it's had. And like the MLS app that we have isn't as efficient. It doesn't tell you when it went pending, when it went closed, if how many, you know, sometimes it will tell you, like, it does tell you how many days in the market, but it doesn't tell you like if there's been price drops and all those things. And then it also has like a boundary of the property. Like you can see the property lines, and then it will give you like comparables for the active, for the pending, and then you can get like you can click on the owner information, which is the new tab that it has, and that's when it gives you, if it's listed, their emails and their phone numbers. So, and then, so that's just regular information for any house. So I've been sharing that with my clients because I think it's great that, and I tell them like in a way that's funny, so that they can use it, because then I will invite them and they'll be my client. And when they snap, then it kind of like shares what they're doing with me, so I can see that they're actively snapping. But I tell them like, hey, you know, you go to your friend's house and you're curious to know what they bought it for, you know, you could just snap it on right there. You could figure out their mortgage. You could figure out how much square feet. Any house doesn't have to be listed. So I think it's a phenomenal tool. And then now there's like in the app itself, that's where you have like the heat maps where it shows you like most likely to list, distress, equity, you know, property values. There's a bunch of filters that you can play around with and figure out which one's going to work for you.
Donia, is HomeSnap an app, or somebody's asking where they can find it?
Go to the App Store. HomeSnap is I believe, like I said, I believe it's a free app. I just have the pro version because I do all my marketing on there.
Right. So
So I'm trying to play around with it so you guys can kind of, I don't know if maybe, let me brighten up my screen. Like if you go to the homes, so this is like where I am right now, and it's showing, okay, this house right here is available. I can click on it. I can click on the picture. You know, it tells you it's for sale. Like the history of the property, related agents, blah, 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 blah. But if I just wanted to go to the map and I wanted to go to all homes and I wanted to go to filter, I can do like distress, ownership type. I can, like, you know, Desi was saying, absentee owners. I can look at like people who have bought their houses cash buyers only. And I can put that filter on, and then I can do like likelihood to list, most likely, apply, and then it will kind of tell me. I guess you have to zoom more into it. Hold on.
So while she's zooming, everybody's asking where to get it. It's probably best to go through Miami Realtors. So just go to miamirealtors.com/HomeSnap, and it'll give you all the information that you need to get set up.
Hey, Kevin, I just, thank you for the tip about HomeSnap. They've been marketing me for months, and I've been deleting it, you know, swiping left, saying, you know, there's just too much being thrown at me. And it was product of the day tip from the Miami Realtors board on April 29th. So it's out there. Thank you all.
Of course. That's what this event is all about.
Just want to jump in there for those that are on like Stellar MLS. It's provided for you as well. So when you log into your MLS, it'll be one of those apps in there. Some of these boards pay for you to have access to it.
Stas, do you use it at all? And what do you use it mainly for if you do?
No, I don't. I use Remine, but I'm gonna take a look at HomeSnap just to see, you know, what all the features are and check it out. I ignore it as well. So.
Oh, no worries. All right. So for all the people who are using Remine, we had Leo Pareja on a few months ago, and I'm going to try and find that video on YouTube, and I will post it in the chat in case you want to review that and use that as one of your options as well.
Okay, guys, so when you go to the heat map, and let's say like I click on this property with a little blue dot, and I click on the actual picture of the property, and I go up and it tells me all the information. It says right here, most likely to list 46.1% equity. They've owned it for 5 years, hasn't been listed, it's owner occupied, it's in a good standing of mortgage. Then you can go down, it says the estimated value, the rental value, related people. You click on see all related people, and then it shows you the names of the owners. Granted, sometimes it will tell you the phone numbers. In this case, it doesn't, but you can just go through and figure out the ones that do and use those. Yeah, super cool app.
All right, I'm close to getting, at least finding the link. So pardon the quietness while I find this Mining for Gold with Remine Pro. So yeah, I don't know if anybody, sorry, that was my recording. Okay, I'm putting in the chat now.
Okay.
But
I wanted to jump in really quick, Kevin, if I can, just to add on to Michelle's question.
yes,
We were asking about like farming and all of that. So there's one tool that I really love for direct mail. It's rocketprintandmail.com. I'll put it in the chat now. But I love it because they have a direct mail 2.0 where the same people that you're direct mailing, they take charge of finding those people on social media and everywhere online and targeting them there as well. So it kind of like makes your life a little bit easier. So that's why I use them for everything that's direct mail related, and they have very affordable prices as well. The other one that you want to use when you're farming as well is AdWords. So AdWords will just follow people around who live in a particular zip code and just pop up your message. So this is really good because if you're already, it's like you said, being in front of their face constantly. It does the same thing as bus benches do in person, but you know, online. So it's the same exact concept and it's actually super affordable. So if you're spending the money already on direct mail and email blasts and you're spending the time to call them and all of that, I recommend the AdWorks because it's going to be one more touch that you don't have to take care of. You just have to pay them every month and it's going to be targeted and it's super affordable.
nice. So there's some people that have just hopped on. So let's go back to the original question, because we did kind of morph it. Although these apps do work great for some of the things that we're doing. This breakout session is all about note card ideas. Dania gave an instance earlier where she uses note cards for Thanksgiving, and it seems to have some pretty good traction with some of her past clients. Eric, I know you're new to the business. Desi, do you send any note cards out or anything like that yourself, or?
Personally, no.
No?
I have email blasts for everything, their 1-year home anniversary. When during the transaction, I make a note of everybody's birthday, they're going to get an email from me on happy birthday. So I have all of that set up for them, but no cards. It's something that I've never really gotten into.
No, it's certainly time consuming as well. Has a note card or a written note ever played a role in your seller's decision on who they selected in a multiple offer situation?
Not necessarily like handwritten, but that's one of the things that I use as well as a cover letter, where I try to relate my buyers as much as possible to the sellers. Like, hey, I think my 3 kids will be very happy growing up here, just as your 3 daughters were. So I try to build that relationship in a cover letter because I've honestly had situations where we've won based on an emotional connection over money.
So let's expand upon that if that's cool. Obviously, kids, great thing to hit upon. Are there any things that you look for when you're like looking for those parallels between buyer and seller?
So when I'm walking through a house that's occupied, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at family photos if they still have them up. I'm looking for degrees. I'm looking at their pets. And if possible, we try to have a little bit of a conversation, obviously not passing any boundaries, but I try to get as much information as possible just to make it relatable.
What are some of your go-to questions, if you don't mind me asking?
Man, it really depends. Like it really depends on the situation. It usually forms a little bit more naturally between the buyers and the sellers. So it usually depends because I never seek out the conversation. It just starts with something. Also, how old is the roof? And then a conversation just arises and I try to take it somewhere else. So I always try to see how long they've been there, try to see, oh, you raise your family here. How's the schools? How's the neighborhood? Do you know the neighbors? And kind of go from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm trying to think. I wish I had more questions to ask about note cards. Eric, have you heard of anything in your short period of time regarding handwritten stuff that you think about implementing in your business or anything like that?
No, not really. More about just farming my social circle a lot and trying to get a lot of referrals that way. I haven't implemented the handwritten notes.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's for everybody.
Hi, Kevin.
I just haven't had the chance yet either.
Yeah, Dawn,
Hi, how are you?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you're live on the line. Welcome to REBarcamp 2020.
Hi, I just wanted to add something. You guys all had wonderful ideas. I just wanted to add that I actually use handwritten letters as well as note cards. And I find that they work. And I think it'll be helpful for those times that are coming up a lot with those people who are facing foreclosure and sending out the list pin letters. I think that personal rapport that you make in the beginning stages of your contact with them is very good with a handwritten card, letting them know that you can help, letting them know that they're not alone and that there's someone who can assist them through the hard times, because they're receiving all types of mailed letters from the bank, from everyone else, and it's all, business to the point. We want to take this house from you. So it's a little refreshing for them when they receive that note card. That's a handwritten note card that says you took the time out to reach out to them.
Dawn, you're really smart. I didn't even really think about that, but I can't imagine all the aggressive letters that these lenders are sending out.
Correct.
And I can't imagine how deep my heart would feel like it was dropping, like having to deal with that on a day in, a day out basis with the phone calls and everything else. Since we're on this topic, and I think this is a really kind of good segue, is there certain language that you would recommend using within this written note card that could really kind of pull on the heartstrings, or any other strategies besides just the written letter itself? Is there anything that you're trying to really highlight in these letters, or anything that comes to mind? Because this is a great idea. This is a great avenue to go down, considering the times that we're in right now.
Well, what I try to do is not just come from a place of let me do a short sale, So we come from a place of assistance first. So we like to say, we can recommend agencies or make it a lender who try the first stage. A lot of people try to do the refinance and loan modifications and things like that. And when those things fail is when they decide that they have to do something different, and a short sale, would come into mind. So not only do we offer those services first, and we partner with the lender and say, hey, we may be sending some people over who may need some assistance, and we try to help before we try to sell to them. And the next thing we do is we do let them know, though, that we can work their options of a short sale, because as you know, short sales are not guaranteed. The lender will approve it. So we let them know that we can discuss options with their lender about a short sale. The other thing that we do let them know that a lot of people who may have to wait. And if
Hey,
you
say that
do
last
have,
thing again. You broke up right there.
you may have some equity in your property. foreclosure doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have any equity in the property. It just means that you didn't pay your mortgage. So if they have something in the property, we offer to do a no no cost consultation to determine what stage their property is in, and see how we can assist them. And I like to end my handwritten cards here from the card cafe. And I just like to end the cards. You're not alone in this card. We're here to help you, and contact us, and I'll include a business card.
That's great. I really hope that goes far. And really, thanks for sharing that. I think one of us is probably going to get a little business because of that golden nugget right there, for sure.
The other thing to add is right now we're in the moratoriums. There's been so many. The banks are at a standstill right now. And what they can do. So I feel like they're going to snap back into 2008 and have short sales and foreclosures up the wahoo. But I do think there is going to be some niche market there, and a lot of homeowners who are going to need assistance when it comes time to face the reality that now, yes, you do have to pay your mortgage, or we have something to do.
Yes. Okay. So right now we're in a moratorium. Is there any way that we can measure who is falling behind on their payments right now during this moratorium, or do we just kind of have to wait for a shoe to drop? And let's conclude on this segment, because I think the homework here and the star of this segment is you, Dawn. What can you do? What can you do right now to figure out who to send those cards to, so that when things really do start to get bad, that you already are a step ahead of the competition, if there's even that possibility right now? Is there that possibility? And what do you do?
I don't know that is a possibility. I still pull the, and I actually learned from you guys with the YPN. I did a seminar with you guys some time ago where you showed how to find letters through IMAP. And so I do that. And it's no cost. I go and I look and I use the tax rolls and pull the people who have been placed into list pin status. I haven't mastered as to how yet to foresee these things, but I think we need to just continue to track the banks putting those list pin on properties and starting these proceedings on persons, and I think we're going to see an uptick in them very soon.
Oh, I'm afraid to say without question, we're going to see a pretty big uptick as soon as this moratorium is over. So we talked about a lot of apps today, but the app that might be the most important is the IMAP, the tax records, and what we can do to get ahead of everybody else to write those handwritten letters and to hopefully generate some business, and not only generate some business, but maybe make a difference in somebody's life when they're going through a really big hard spot. And
that's important.
We're all kind of struggling in our own different ways right now. I'm kind of climbing out of some depression myself. I'm pretty much over it. This event really did help me because I didn't have a choice. I had to get this done, or if this event was a flop, I'd probably get fired, right? So I think let's start focusing on IMAP. Let's start figuring out where we can figure out where to get those touches and start writing like crazy. And Dawn, that was the greatest piece of advice that I've heard today so far, I think, and probably one of the most applicable to COVID potentially. So thank you for hopping on.
No, thank you. This has all been great.
Add one thing really quickly.
Yeah, please.
I know there was someone who was watching this that was from commercial, and they're taking the residential ideas and applying it to commercial. And there's something that I see a lot of my investors that they do that I think that the realtor should apply as well. So the same site that I posted for the direct mail, Rocket Print and Mail, they also do a yellow letter that when it's printed out, it looks like it's handwritten. So if you want to take the easy route and you'd rather just pay the money and have it automated for you, that's the best way to go. So that's how the investors do it, and that's how they target the distressed properties, or that's how they try to buy their fix and flips. And it's something that you guys can use as realtors if you don't want to put in the time, but you have the budget to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's probably a whole lot cheaper than hiring a stenographer too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the stenographer adds a really cool touch, but if we're going after foreclosures, I don't know. But anyways, those are all some great advices. So Desi put the link to your printer, right?
Yeah, it's Rock and Print and Mail, and then the AdWorks was if you wanted to target people in a farm area.
So all the people that are hopping on right now, welcome. And we're finishing up this session. We're about to toss it over to Dania. But we were talking about foreclosures and maybe using handwritten notes to reach out to some of these people and maybe have that note be the reason why they choose you to do business with while they're going through this difficult time. And we're talking about implementing some of the tax records within IMAP to figure out where we send those letters to. So Dawn, that was massive.